Hello and welcome to FX Addicts Weekly Market Analysis. This is Tim, the Currency Professor, and today is Friday, November 1st, 2013. Well, we entered the month of October, and we'll take a look at the technicals here in a minute. Economically, we had a few reports out today of significance. A bunch of PMI numbers. Really none of them were any big surprises, except in the U.S. The ISM manufacturing PMI came out at 56.4 as opposed to expectations of 55.3. That actually did move the dollar up a little bit, so that was a slight positive. Dollar was biased to the upside anyways coming into it, but it was a positive for it. And also in the U.S., total vehicle sales 15.2 million. It's a little bit less than the 15.5 that was expected, and just slightly less than the 15.3 last month. So next week we got kind of a full docket, but the beginning of the week's slow and it kind of builds to the end of the week. On Monday, got a few PMI numbers out in Europe and factory orders in the U.S. Now in the U.S. they'll report those factory orders for September and August because of the shutdown, so we'll get actually two numbers. And then on Tuesday, the EU economic forecast by the European Commission, that can move the market, especially lately with we've seen some fairly poor economic numbers out of Europe, so we'll have to wait and see how they actually present that data and what their expectations are. So that will be a key there to watch. Also in the U.S. on Tuesday, ISM non-manufacturing PMI, no big deal expected there. On Wednesday, a few PMI numbers, service numbers out of Europe. Then in the UK, manufacturing production and industrial production, both of those looking for positive numbers after a couple of months of negative numbers, so could be important, certainly to the pound. And then in Europe, retail sales expected to show a negative number, so we'll see how that comes out as well. And then also in Europe, German factory orders expected to show a positive of 0.6 after last month's negative 0.3. Thursday, German industrial production starts out the day, expected to be up 0.2%. That should help a little bit if it does come out positive. We also have out of the UK and Europe, both of those central banks are meeting, so that could possibly move the market more and more. The ECB and Draghi's statement and press conference has a tendency to move the markets, very much like the U.S. lately, so need to see that. Also on Thursday, big numbers for the U.S. GDP for the third quarter. So expectations are for 1.9%, 2.5 was last quarter, the second quarter. So this could be a big deal if it comes out much less or comes out higher for that matter. Also in the foreshadow there will be weekly unemployment claims expected to be 332,000. On Friday will be the employment numbers for October, and non-farm payrolls are expected to be 126,000, 148 was last month. And then the unemployment rate is expected to tick up to 7.3% from 7.2. Also on Friday next week, personal income and personal spending, as well as the University of Michigan consumer sentiment number. So the University of Michigan consumer sentiment number comes out at 10:55 Eastern time. So that'll be a couple hours after, about an hour and a half after the GDP report, and that can move the market also. Then on Saturday next week, China reports all their economic data. So most concerning ones are the inflation numbers, industrial production, and retail sales. No big changes are expected, but you never know, so that will influence the markets a week from Sunday when they open in New York time, or first thing Monday morning in Japan. So on to the technicals here. Euro US dollar getting hammered for second day in a row and being down all week this week. So down another 93 pips right now, just under 135, and hitting here into some support level right here. So we'll probably bounce from here, much needed bounce after 5 days down, and we could bounce all the way back up to about the 136 level. If we jump out here to the weeklies, we can see here a little bit better. Very much same kind of thing. We're selling off now. We've had some build up here in the stochastics, so this kind of really shows the momentum and the enthusiasm, and this week now we're seeing that enthusiasm bubble burst. So we had kind of the same situation back here where the enthusiasm or that euphoria just took over the markets and then it crashed. Probably going to happen the same way here. Jump out to the monthlies. Last month finished out with a good tail on it. Could signal turnaround depending on how we close out this month. We close out this month back down around the 130 level. That would actually be quite bearish then for going forward, because that would mean that's the second time that we've tried to get up to this upper channel line, and we will have failed at about the same area. So we would sell off then and sell off and get below this level, which is about 126. We close below that, all bets are off. We probably get down to 110 very, very quickly. Pound dollar also down today, down about 115 right now, back under the 160 level, also sliding off the whole week. We're hitting now into an area, neckline area. We got a good double top in here, so if we close out below this level where we're at next week, that would be a very, very bearish sign. So we would probably sell out, because there really isn't much here until about the 155, 156 level. On the weeklies, looking very much like a top also. Several weeks ago we had this pattern right up in here where we made a top. Then we went back up. We've tested it now last week also with the long tail and the short little body there. That's another reversal pattern. So here we are. We got two reversal patterns this week, the big sell-off. So next week we close down here around 157, 158 on the week. That would be very, very negative. We also made new highs last week on lower stochastics. All of it's pointing down here, so not looking very good. On a monthly level, well, right now on the monthly level, it doesn't look too bad. Just looks like we got a little bit of a flagging going here, which could mean we'll move up. And we do have a good bottom put in here like this very long, stable bottom. But technically, we go further back here and we look at this whole thing, it's still a negative pattern. Not really looking very good long term. So US dollar against the Swiss franc, nice week today, very much up. We're up another 60 today, up about 100 yesterday. Really rocking up out of here. We're forming a very, very nice bottom pattern here. Very nice symmetrical bottom pattern. So we close up today around this 91.20 to 91.50 area. That would be outstanding. Then maybe next week we pull back a little bit and then go bursting up. Now if we jump out to the weeklies, we can see here very, very nice week this week. Very good turnaround. We're reversing 3 closes. Can't say enough. Looks very good. So technically we got very good bottom in here. It made new lows on higher stochastics. Again, good divergence there. Looks very, very good. Jumping out to the monthlies. Well, last month could be the low, as we got a little bit of a tail down there, and the range very, very narrow. So very indicative of a turnaround in the market. We need to close up above these trend lines, which is really now up above 100. If we can close above that, this market will find a new very long-term upward momentum move. US dollar against the Japanese yen, up about 40 today, having a very, very good reversal day. We were down quite significantly earlier in the session and then turned it around here towards the end of the session. Very positive. That's a very, very positive move. So looking very good. We set some lows in here last week, rallied up this week. So here we are. This looks very, very strong, very good longer term. And on the weeklies, looks like we're finally starting to break out of this little pattern we have going here of consolidation. So we got to wait and see, though. There's still some time coming here where we need to move up in the next couple of weeks, get up above 100 again. Same on the monthlies. Looks very good still. We're consolidating off to the side. Very good, but we need to rock it up here and get above 100 and close a month above 100. Euro Swiss bouncing around all week today. Down about 10 pips. We were up at the beginning of the week, then back down now towards the end of the week. So really nowhere on the week. and nowhere for the last several months. So we're just bouncing around, and longer term, still looking for this market to rally up to around the 130 level eventually. Euro yen down also today, down about 42. Was smacked yesterday also quite a bit. Looking like we might have a double top in here. We've pulled up here a couple of points, and we really need to either go back up and exceed those levels quite significantly, or we are going to sell off. Now we jump out to the weeklies here. We are on this trend line, so we're not exactly falling apart yet, but it's not exactly great either. And if we jump out to the monthlies here, we can see this actually looks pretty decent. We closed out last month fairly well, so there is a possibility we can still run on an intra-month basis. Sometime within a week, 2 weeks, we could run up to that 137, 138 level and then pull back. Still looking for us to run up there to complete this pattern. US dollar against the Canadian, right now unchanged. We've been up and down all day, and yesterday big sell-off, but we did run up for about 7 days here in a row, so really was due for a correction. Very nice pattern, so we're definitely moving up here. It's just a point of pulling back now, consolidating a little bit, having a slight correction, and then we'll move up again. Now jump out to the weeklies here. We can see how this week's not shaping up too good. We got a little bit of a tail. It is a negative kind of body on there as well, so not really a great sign for the end of the week, but coming off of last week also, it's not a very good sign. So we really want to see us close out today at least up for the day, closer to where we opened for the week. And on the monthlies, well, we closed out last month in pretty much the same range as the last 4 months, but on the lower end. That's not exactly a positive sign. So we would still like to see a monthly close well above these highs over here, which would be up around 106, 107. So if we could close up there on a monthly basis, that would be very, very positive. There's still hope here, obviously, for November. We're just starting the month. Australian against the U.S. Down today, down about 19. We were up earlier, and now we're down. So all over the map here, but generally we are selling off. And if this is a correction and a little bit more of an upward move, it could be it. At some point we are going to test these highs, so we should have one more move up here. The question is, how far do we go? Right now it's looking fairly weak, but we bounce back up, we get back up, maybe exceed these highs just slightly in a week or two, and then we could fall off again. The longer term, we finished out last month with quite a tail, but it's not exactly a negative tail, so it's more or less a continuation. So depending on how we close out November is really going to be very important. If we run up inter-month again and then fall back towards the close of November, that would be bearish, and then that would turn this market back around. Again, the sentiment here is still very, very negative, very bearish. We get a lot of buying in there. The market moves up quite a bit, and then boom, selling comes in quite vigorously. So the tone of the market is still negative. That is it for this week. If you are not a member of FX Addicts, please stop on by. We do offer 7 days free to test us out. If you just have general questions about interest rates or currencies, please feel free to email me, tim@fxaddicts.com, and I will be more than happy to help you out. Otherwise, have a very good trading week. Thank you for stopping by.